Level 1. The offer. You're an aerospace engineer, 26 years old, sitting in a conference room at a defense contractor outside of Colorado Springs. You've been here 2 years. Good work, unremarkable projects, satellite components. Nothing that makes you feel like you're using your actual brain. Then one afternoon, a man sits down across from you. No introduction, no business card. He slides a single sheet of paper across the table. It isn't a job description. It's a list of problems, physics problems, problems that, as far as you know, haven't been solved yet. Can you work on something like this? You look at the math. Your hands go slightly cold. Where would this be, you ask? He smiles. Nevada. You know what Nevada means. Everyone in this industry knows what Nevada means. You've told yourself the conspiracy theories are nonsense, the kind of thing people believe when they don't understand how classified programs actually work. Now, a man with no name is asking if you want to find out. You sign the NDA before he finishes the sentence. Of course you do. You've been waiting for this your whole career without knowing it. They run the background check. 6 months. They talk to your professors, your ex-roommate, your mother's neighbor. They access financial records you didn't know existed. Then a packet arrives, an address, a date, a list of what to bring, a longer list of what not to. Tell no one where you're going. You tell your parents you got a promotion, relocating, very exciting, very boring, very routine. First lie, clean and easy. You don't know yet that this is what the rest of your life will feel like. Level 2. The arrival. The official name is the Nevada Test and Training Range. Nobody calls it that. The bus has blacked-out windows. You count the turns. Old habit. You'll never be able to reconstruct the route. That's the point. When the windows clear, you're looking at a facility that doesn't match anything you expected. Not a bunker, not a hangar from a movie. A complex, modern, sprawling, climate-controlled, the kind of place serious work happens, and serious work only. They badge you in through 3 separate checkpoints. Each one requires something different. Fingerprint, retina, a code that changes every 24 hours. Your clearance level is top secret SCI with additional program-specific access. This means you can know certain things and not others. The geometry of your knowledge is a shape you'll spend years trying to map. Orientation lasts a week. Rules, more rules. No personal devices outside the outer perimeter. No discussion of work outside designated spaces. No notes taken home. No photographs of anything, ever. Violation of any of this is not a termination, it's a federal prosecution. They introduce you to your team, 6 people. Everyone uses first names only. One of them, a woman who speaks 4 languages and holds 2 PhDs, will become the closest thing to a friend you have here. You'll know her 11 years before you learn her last name. The work itself. They show you the work. You sit in a secure briefing room and a senior scientist walks you through the project. The physics involved shouldn't be possible with current propulsion theory, and yet here is the data. Decades of data, collected by people whose names are redacted, reviewed by committees that don't officially exist. You look at the numbers and feel something shift in your understanding of what the word possible means. You don't sleep that night, not because you're afraid, because your brain won't stop. Level 3. The routine. Nobody tells you how strange normal becomes. You wake at 5:30. Shuttle from the housing compound, you live on site now, it's easier, to the main facility. Breakfast in a cafeteria with no windows. Work from 7 to 7, sometimes longer. Shuttle back, sleep, repeat. The work is extraordinary. You are solving problems that have never been solved. You are building things that the rest of the world thinks belong in science fiction. Some days you look up from your desk and feel something close to awe. This is real. This is actually real. You are part of it. But the isolation sets in faster than you expect. You can't call home and tell anyone what you're doing. Your family thinks you work on satellite navigation. Your old college friends have stopped texting. What is there to say? How's Nevada? Fine. Work is good. Same as last month. You develop a practiced vagueness, a fluency in saying nothing across entire conversations. Inside the facility, you are one of the most informed people on Earth regarding very narrow slices of knowledge. Outside the facility, you know nothing. You can discuss nothing. Your expertise has no outlet, no audience, no proof of itself. The security debriefs happen monthly. A counterintelligence officer sits across from you and asks questions. Who did you speak to? What did you discuss? Did anyone ask about your work? Did you feel pressure to disclose anything? You answer honestly. You always answer honestly. The answers are always the same. Nobody, nothing, no, no. The officer nods, signs a form, see you next month. You start to understand that this is also your life now, being vouched for, continuously and permanently. Trust is not a thing granted here, it's a thing renewed every single month until you leave or die. Level 4. The layers. 3 years in, you get a new clearance. You didn't ask for it, you didn't apply. One morning your badge works on a door it didn't work on yesterday. A supervisor walks you through. There are programs running inside this facility you didn't know existed. People in this building you've eaten breakfast next to for 3 years who are working on something entirely different, something above your old access. You were in the building, you weren't in the building. The layers go down. You start to understand the architecture of secrets. Not everything is compartmented by classification level. Some things are compartmented by need to know, so specific that a 4-star general can't access them without explicit authorization. There are people here whose entire job function is to know which people are allowed to know what. The geometry of knowledge inside this facility is medieval in its complexity, a labyrinth where different wings don't know the other wings exist. The new project, you can't describe it specifically even here. What you can say is that it changes your understanding of what the government has known and for how long. There are files, documented incidents going back farther than the public timeline of the facility's existence. Incidents categorized not by what they were, but by what they couldn't be ruled out as being. You start to understand why the people who've been here the longest talk the way they do. Carefully, always carefully. Not because they're hiding things from you, because they've learned that precision matters enormously when the subject matter is this far from established consensus. One wrong word and you sound like a conspiracy theorist. You're not. You work here. You've seen the data. That's worse. Your relationship ends. She lives in Phoenix. She hasn't seen you in 4 months. The phone calls got shorter. The excuses got thinner. The distance got structural. You couldn't explain, and she couldn't wait, and that was that. You process this on the shuttle back to the housing compound. By morning, you're back at your desk. The work doesn't pause for personal losses. The work never pauses. Level 5. The wait. 7 years in. Now you are one of the senior scientists on your program. Junior researchers look to you for direction. You attend briefings with people whose names you've read in declassified documents that are already a decade old. You've seen things that will not be released to the public in your lifetime, possibly not in your children's lifetime if you had children, which you don't, because this job is not compatible with the version of a life that includes children. An incident occurs. You can't describe the specifics. What you can say is that it requires a response measured in hours, a decision chain that goes up farther than you knew the chain went, and a morning where you sit in a room with 8 other people waiting for authorization that takes 4 hours to arrive. In those 4 hours, no one speaks about what they're waiting on. People drink bad coffee and stare at walls, and you all understand each other completely. The authorization comes, the response proceeds, it is handled. No one outside this room will know it happened. You drive home, you have a car now, a house 20 minutes from the perimeter, and you eat dinner and watch television. The news is on. There is nothing on the news about what happened today.
Of course there isn't. You watch a story about a local election, a story about a sports team, a story about the weather. You think, I know something that would change every conversation in this country, and I will take it to my grave. And that is the job, and I chose this. You pour another drink. You chose this.
Level 6. The knowledge. There is a specific kind of loneliness that comes from knowing too much. It's not dramatic. It doesn't feel like a thriller. It feels like sitting at a dinner party, your sister's husband's birthday, something you drove 3 hours to attend, and listening to people debate things you have hard data on. And you can't say anything. You nod. You eat the food. You say, yes, it's a fascinating question. You drive home. 10 years in, and you've stopped trying to have a normal social life. The people you're close to are almost exclusively colleagues, people who know what they can and can't say, who understand the rhythm of the life, who won't ask you questions you'll have to not answer. It's comfortable, and it's limiting, and you've made your peace with it, mostly. The facility has changed. New programs, new faces, new problems that are stranger than the old ones. The longer you're here, the less certain you are about the outer boundaries of what's possible. That used to feel like expansion. Now it sometimes feels like vertigo. You were trained to understand physics as a set of rules. The data here suggests the rules have exceptions, that the exceptions have been observed, documented, studied for longer than your career, and that there are still no consensus explanations for them. You think about the version of yourself that sat across from that man in Colorado and signed the NDA in under 30 seconds. That person thought knowing secrets was power. It is power. It is also a weight. The two things are the same object, and you carry both. Someone from your original team retires. There's a small ceremony inside the facility, a cake, a handshake from the director. His work, spanning 22 years, will appear nowhere. No publication, no patent with his name on it, no LinkedIn announcement. He will return to civilian life and tell his grandchildren he worked in aerospace, and the grandchildren will find this boring. You watch him shake the director's hand, and you see your own future with total clarity. You are still here. There is still more to know. Level 7. The threshold. You've been here long enough that new recruits look at you the way you once looked at the senior scientists, with a specific mixture of respect and wariness, like you carry something heavy that they can't yet see. 15 years, maybe more. The numbers start to blur when every year looks like the one before it. You have seen things that have no official explanation. This is not a metaphor. There are documented incidents in classified archives, verified by multiple instruments, reviewed by the best scientific minds in the country, for which the conclusion is still unknown origin, unknown mechanism, unknown intent, if intent is even a category that applies. The files sit in rooms that most people at this facility don't know exist. You've read them. You carry the reading of them with you now everywhere you go. Retirement becomes a real conversation. You're eligible. The pension is structured. The process is straightforward on paper. In practice, you sit with the paperwork for 6 months because you don't know who you are outside of this building. A psychiatrist on staff, yes, there is one, there has always been one, this is not an accident, asks you once what you think you'll do when you leave. You say, travel, maybe. Read things you've been meaning to read. She nods and says nothing, and you both understand what she's not saying. The transition out is its own challenge. Several people you've known here have struggled with it badly. One took years to adjust. One never really did. You fill out the paperwork. You attend an exit briefing that lasts 2 days. You sign documents confirming what you already know. This never happened. You were never specifically here. The specific things you worked on do not exist in any public record. If you disclose, the mechanism for what follows is not ambiguous. On your last day, you drive out through the gate. The guard checks your badge one last time, clears you. The barrier lifts. You drive out into the Nevada desert. The sky is the specific shade of blue it gets out here in the late afternoon. You pull over. You sit in the car for a while. Everything you've seen, everything you know, everything that will never leave the inside of your own skull, sitting there, right behind your eyes, where it will stay until the end. Your phone has signal for the first time in 15 years without restriction. You could call anyone, say anything. You sit quietly in the car. You watch the sky. You already know what's up there.